Hello, and welcome to Cold Beers and Curveballs for the last fucking time this season, guys. I am Chase Almy.
Here with Chase is Corey Stevens.
And we are hanging out at the Hub in Addison, Texas.
It's a fun spot over
here.
here.
It's a good little spot. We've met some friends. We've got Maddie, we've got Stella, we got Brittany, and we've got Shelby so far. And it's been a lot of fun. Guys, Addison is one of the only places, if you guys are cigarette smokers, you can still smoke inside. If you're not cool with that, they've got Ron's Place. It looks a little bit classier. It's got scotch, but, you know, it's just a straight-up old-school type sports bar. Got all the fucking games, got everything on. It looks like there's a TV probably every 28 inches in this fucking building.
Yeah, no, we've been counting our lucky stars because we haven't gotten kicked out yet.
Right.
Chase is doing his best.
Dude, but the problem is these fucking women are all about it, man. Except for the one in the dress thing that we've been talking about today, but that's another story.
This onesie. No, why don't we talk about that for a second, because this is going to be a short show.
Yeah, it's going to be a short show.
Why are people wearing like onesie PJs and calling
because
them classy?
That's the thing, dude. Like, it's all about the 70s jumpsuit.
How do you fit in that? How do you unzip yourself without help? Like
how do you go and take a piss while you're there?
You looking at us. Anyways, so they're all like, what's with the microphones? No, anyway. For the beer. No, we're rolling with Cold Beers and Curveballs. So, the baseball season is over, Chase. Are you focused?
Dude, I'm fucking pissed that the baseball season is over.
Right. It was tragic, but could it have ended any better?
Dude,
to be honest, it came down to the last game, Game 7, World Series. It was a phenomenal World Series. I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Corey, I feel like we should have got Long Island Medium from E! News to get Yogi Berra, Babe Ruth, Ricky Mantle, and all the people that make the decisions, Joe, Torre, everybody at MLB, and say, hey, after game fucking 5, can we make this best of 11 instead of best of fucking 7? I didn't want that World Series to ever end, and I was so let down with game 7.
Right, because, the bats didn't get going. We're going to talk about that in a second, but, you are absolutely right. We've talked about it for 27 episodes now. The best two teams all season long, Dodgers and Astros. We had the matchup, and they were both playing phenomenal.
And here's the thing, is they all ended up in your hot or not segment on both sides.
Yeah.
There for a while, the fucking Dodgers, it looked like, wow, we got all of our wins before before 3/4 of the season's done. We're done with that.
No, and they were real
Astros
for a second.
Right. So, I guess in honor of it, we still have to do this.
No, let's not do that.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there.
So, yes, in case you've been sleeping under a rock and you're not a real baseball fan, the Houston Astros bring the first fucking World Series title to the state of Tejas.
Don't ever say that again.
Tejas, that's how they say it.
Yeah, but that means friends, and it doesn't even mean Texas and blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
Friends ain't in Texas. Garth Brooks' friends weren't in low places in Texas.
Friends are in all the high places and low places. Look,
and they're right here at the Hub in fucking Addison, Texas.
We had a lot of coaching news. We got the off season coming up. Let's hit all this real hard. Basically, Astros just like Chase just said, Astros just won the World Series. It was a phenomenal game, phenomenal series. We had Dodgers winning Game 1 in LA. Astros coming back. Was that not a phenomenal game? Game 2 in LA. We set a record for most home runs hit after the 9th inning.
Right.
We went to extras.
They shattered every fucking home run record.
Dude, it was a phenomenal game.
Which we talked about the juice balls.
Huh?
We talked about the juice balls. We'll get into that.
Everybody's talking about the juice balls, and I set Peter Gammon straight, or whoever the hell it was on Twitter, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, good point." He wants to act like juice balls are a new World Series thing. No, dude, we've been talking about it for years. people have been on to this.
Look, man, I don't even know if it was juice balls. Here's the thing. You've got way too big guys playing, and you've got way too slick balls. The pitchers were not comfortable throwing the breaking ball. So they had to offer up fucking four-seam fastballs.
Yeah, people were
curves
talking
that
about
set,
that.
sliders that set up. You know, you've got 22 home runs in game 5 in the fucking World Series.
No, that just doesn't happen.
No.
We've got, the Dodgers is a phenomenal box score. If we want to talk, like, get into baseball, if you're a fan of this, the Dodgers didn't have a hit until late in the game, in game 2. Like, or maybe I have my games backwards or something. But
Guys, the hub just gave us individual pitchers of beer.
that's beautiful.
And Corey is over here drinking them out of a fucking silly straw.
I want to talk baseball. Do you want to talk baseball?
I want to talk baseball, but I'm telling you, this is why Corey's games are messed up.
No, remember that. So the Dodgers had scored on like errors and walks, and they end up getting their first hit in like the 9th inning or something to come back. We had like back-to-back homers. We had like Altuve hitting the home run. He comes off, and Correa's falling and he's like, "Hey, it's your turn. Ready, set, go." And Correa's like, "Fine, I got this." He hits it to the exact same spot.
Right.
It was phenomenal. It was extra innings, and then the Dodgers somehow came back.
And
I
what-
couldn't keep track of it all.
What
that was
other
only
s-
game 2.
What other city deserves it more than fucking Houston?
Houston deserves it.
Houston,
Absolutely.
not even going off the Hurricane Harvey deal. They've had so many years of mediocre. They had Nolan Ryan. They have all these players that are Hall of Famers. They had, Mark Bagwell. They had Craig Biggio. They had
Jeff
Bagwell.
Bagwell.
Mark Bagwell was the wrestler. Sorry. Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio. They had these great players, but they just didn't have it in them to ever win it.
Yeah,
And
they had Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, Lance Berkman. They had some. They had some
They
good
had
times.
some ballers.
They
back
got
in
to the
day.
World Series.
Right.
Last I checked, Albert Pujols broke everybody's heart. Cardinals won.
That was the White Sox. How would the Cardinals have won when they were in the NL?
Shut up. Whatever. I don't even remember.
Frank Thomas, the big hurt, ugliest fucking shoes I've ever seen.
It was a fantastic World Series. So, Clayton Kershaw, he has gotten ragged on for his entire career. I am glad that that's going to finally go to rest. Yes, he did not win the World Series, but nobody in their right mind can possibly say that Clayton Kershaw did not have a phenomenal postseason.
Right.
Yeah,
Carlos Beltran, did you see him?
Nah, I didn't know.
20 years in and he gets that ring.
Yeah. No.
Evan Gaddis, a great fucking local story.
Right.
Forney, Texas.
No, like ESPN is showing stuff about it, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, Abrams Drive? Man, I didn't actually realize that. I'm completely blindsided by the whole Evan Gaddis thing. No, yeah, he's old. He plays. He looks like he's old, but he still catches phenomenally. But yeah, he's absolutely from Dallas, Texas, or was working in Dallas, Texas at janitor service.
He's from Forney, Texas.
Right. No, it's a great story.
Dude, his story was great. He got into weed to try to self-medicate. He dealt with anxiety and depression. He's been all over the place. He worked at ski resorts. He played in like the Dominican Winter League, and he made full circle when he gave it up. He was, a janitor in Dallas, Texas, living back home in Forney.
Yeah, and he finally got that. It's the Austin Bibbensterk story, except for way better. He tried the independent ball. He got signed, minor league ball.
Right.
He did everything,
Dude,
and he finally made it.
The thing is, people don't understand independent ball. A lot of people don't know Max Scherzer pitched for the Fort Worth Cats.
There you go.
I mean, it's incredible. And, that's one thing, I love these stories. People are going on about, yeah, that's cool that, what's-his-name proposed at the end of the game.
Right, as Carlos Correa proposed to his girlfriend.
Right,
And
yeah.
Also, Justin Verlander missed the World Series parade because he just got married to Kate Upton.
Right, dude. And I feel like, honestly, if there's a city that's going to rag on Justin Verlander for not being, it's fucking Kate Upton.
Well, no, you're right. Everybody was okay.
My mom would excuse that. My mom is a preacher's wife and will tell you Kate Upton is probably fucking hot.
Yeah. The parade was fun. Houston was loving it. Verlander. Let's talk about those trade deadline deals. We talked about all that to no end, right? We talked about the trade deadline stuff. Well, Verlander comes in, after the normal trade deadline.
Right.
Because he gets picked up,
Off waivers.
He passed waivers, cleared waivers, and you had basically the two biggest trades were Darvish to the Dodgers and Verlander to the Astros. Well, who won that one? Darvish pitched a terrible World Series, to be honest. He didn't get out of the second inning in either game, and Verlander was a stud.
And exactly, if there's any executives in the Houston Astros that want to listen to this podcast, if you guys want
Props
to vote,
to you, yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to vote in on your playoff shares or whatever that you're going to get, or you want to send a ring anywhere, I know a guy in Arlington that would like one, and it's called John Daniels because he fucking traded Yu Darvish off to the LA Dodgers, and that is what won you the World Series. That guy could not show up if he fucking wanted to, and I think Yu Darvish is a great guy.
Right.
I really do, and he feels bad about it. But I don't think an MLB contract. I think he's going to get that contract. I think his performance this World Series and playoffs is going to really hinder it. It may be like a 4-year, 90 deal, maybe 5-year, $100 million. But I don't think if he played that out and then went back to Japan, he wouldn't be an upset person.
Yeah, no, the Yu Darvish trade. So what I really loved was what just came down from Evan Grant, 4 Star Media, maybe Sports Day. So
I know TMZ Sports had it too.
Yeah, so right, it's going everywhere. But he was texting with Yu Darvish. He's like, "All right, tell me the real story." So basically, he had a misquote that got cleared up. We're not gonna talk about that. But basically, people were wondering if he really loved playing for the Rangers or if he was all about the Dodgers. He said he spent so much time trying to live up to expectations inside and outside the clubhouse because he came over as the biggest paid, best star the Japanese pitching has ever had,
Guys,
right?
Yu Darvish was like Justin Bieber in Japan.
Right. And he still has a huge following. He comes over to Dallas, Texas, and he understands the expectations of being an ace. Well, he also blew out his elbow, right? He's got Tommy John surgery. That was a real disappointment for him.
And the
he
next season he
acknowledged all
came
that.
back, though.
Huh?
He came back stronger the next season.
No, he totally did. But so a little bit more of that quote. He said he said he put a ton of pressure on himself, and that's the whole point. In the World Series, the biggest amount of pressure you could possibly have as a pitcher, he kind of wilted, and it's like, guys like Kershaw, Game 7, Kershaw throwing on 2 days rest. He doesn't wilt. Verlander comes in Game 6. He doesn't wilt. We had some real studs. Darvish, he's still at that great, but not excellent level. He's like, yeah, everyone will love him, but everyone's going to have reservations about him.
And I think that will be something we can talk about.
But that's
here.
something we talked about all year. Exactly.
Right.
We talked about how you can't trust him in the big games. He doesn't seem to get run support, which is very weird. He just doesn't act like he's clutch and he's going to get you those good things.
Right.
And he's got strikeouts in the easy games, but, he didn't come up when it happened.
He'll strike you out 22 people during the A's game, but when it comes time for, Game 7 of the World Series, he isn't there.
Yeah,
and I think it's a total different mentality.
No, and I think it was simply the pressure of the moment. He said he listened. He said that there were times that his relationship with his teammates in Texas wasn't that great, and those things led him to where he wasn't able to have as much fun at baseball. Then he got traded, and he saw it from a different point of view. He had a different clubhouse, different coaches. He realized, though, the key point, maybe he's coming back to the Rangers. He realized how much the Rangers and the fans really cared about him. He's not throwing shade at the Dodgers. They cared about him, too. But he realized how good he had it here, how much everyone loved him here. And then he started, that opened him up, and he started really having fun because he got a new perspective, and it wasn't all just about pressure. He said, oh, wow, man, I've really had it great. Everybody knows I'm supposed to be excellent, and yeah, I am supposed to step up my game. But it just kind of left a burden off of his shoulder, and he realized how great things were. He got some different input from the coaches. I think he can be that stud pitcher throughout the regular season. There's going to be question marks in the postseason. They were really, really, really obvious.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I think he lost himself some money. He's
I
not
think
going to
it's
be
one of those-
$30 million a year.
No. And I think it's one of those things where you look at it where it's like, you can say hindsight's 20/20. You can't really look at him and be like, oh, you Darvish, you fucked us, you left. But it wasn't his decision. But I think it's one of those things that you don't really realize what you've lost until you don't have it. And I think it was one of those things where maybe you Darvish didn't understand the way that fandom here in America is different than Japan. And, you know, fandom here where we may not be so outspoken, and we as a society here in America, and especially with American sports, we focus more on the negative than we do on the positive. Like, you can have, if you listen to any shows, you can hear 10 minutes of positive talk, but you'll hear 50 minutes of negative, what did they do wrong?
No, it's true.
And so, and I think it's one of those things where, like, you know, he took out that ad in the Dallas Morning News thanking everybody here. And he, you know, it was one of those things. I've never had that personal market area where I've seen a player that's been like that. And I felt like that was something that was very, very honest and pure. And I feel like, you know, his statement of apologizing and things like that is something that we don't get here in America, where he's owning up to it because there's so much pride in Japan.
Yeah. I feel like we learned that he's a hell of a human being. Like,
Right.
I mean, some things are lost in translation. He understands. Like you said, he's a Justin Bieber over in Japan. Like, you know, giant sports star, but he's a grounded guy. He's an incredible pitcher. He's got, you know, what a repertoire. He's got 8 good pitches. He wants to be the best. He's completely honest about, hey, sometimes I failed. Hey, this was a good experience. Hey, this pressure was, you know, big for me. Hey, this, you know, sometimes the locker room wasn't great for me. The clubhouse wasn't great. Like, he's completely a straight shooter. I appreciate him as a human being more than ever.
And I think it's one of those things, too, it was a cultural divide. You know, when he first got here, he pitched, you know, he would come in and he would pitch, and that was it. And I remember there was a story about him getting set down in the manager's office, and, you know, I can't remember if it was Washington or Bannister at the time.
Right,
Yeah, he was like, you're not a very good teammate. And he was like, well, where I was in Japan, like, I showed up to the ballpark and I pitched, and then I went home.
I think that's totally a key thing. The Japanese World Series, not even relevant. Like, yeah, that's a big deal. But I can't even remember. I don't know that you know, I know. But, you know, let's say he did pitch over there. Let's say he did pitch in the Japanese World Series. Sure, he's familiar with some pressure situations. It's just not the same. The transition is not for everybody. I think that was also not the easiest thing, is from going to manager. He already is going from Japan to, Dallas, Texas. He's going from Ron Washington to Jeff Bannister. He's going from Mike Maddox to whoever our, pitching coach is.
Right.
So he was getting, these different feedbacks, different styles, different points of view. He had to deal with all that.
He was definitely in a transition period.
No,
and
it
as
wasn't
much
the easiest.
as much as I love talking sentimentally about you Darvish, like we're at a fucking eulogy.
Let's go on, right?
You know what's going to make me happy? You know what's going to make me happy?
What's going to make you real happy?
I'm going to talk about somebody getting fired. I'm going to talk about some negativity.
What's that?
I think I'm going to talk about some negativity here, Corey. I think I'm going to talk about somebody
people
getting fired.
getting fired. Joe
Dude,
Girardi
if there is
fired.
one thing
We
in
got-
my life I fucking love is when I get to
Talking about-
hear the words, Joe Girardi is no longer with the fucking Yankees. And you know what? I don't care who the Yankees pick up anymore.
No, it doesn't
as
matter.
long as Joe Girardi doesn't have a fucking job in the MLB.
That was your happiest day. What
That
was your
was.
happiest day in 2017?
Poor
It was
little
when Joe
dude's
Girardi got
crying
fired.
there with his sleeping retainer because he's got fucking adult braces. Fuck Joe Girardi. And you know what? The Yankees finally heard it, and they said, fuck him.
Yeah. No,
After a really good fucking season, and that's
the
what's great.
three biggest markets on the East Coast, Boston, New York City, and Washington, D.C., all of their managers
They're
are
like,
out.
fuck it. Black
Absolutely.
managers
Like,
don't last.
To be honest, it's not even a mystery. What's going to be the storyline going into spring training next year is going to be the storyline of new managers in these 3 biggest markets.
And no, 4 biggest markets, because the Phillies, they fucking went off and hired some new age dude that worked in the fucking GM side of things, was an analytics guy.
He can be a manager?
He's a manager,
That's
and he's a
interesting.
young guy, and he's doing that new school analytics. It's going to be very interesting. I am looking forward to everything
And I don't think
2018 baseball.
I don't know that Philadelphia can handle that.
I
that
don't
seems
know
like
if
a
they can, 'cause,
misfit
the
in
fucking
culture.
Philadelphia
Like
reporters over
they're
here
just like-
saying like fucking Spanish-speaking baseball players can't be a goddamn leader,
Exactly. Like Philadelphia is pretty old school. They're
and that's the
like
type of
Boston.
shit you'll hear here at the hub. It's at you know.
It's
I've been
true.
talking to a few girls, and they're like, "Yeah, if my bar manager spoke Spanish, I wouldn't listen to him."
Let's get into Dusty
That was all
Baker.
Brittany too.
You're having a good time. Let's get into Dusty Baker for a second.
Yeah, I don't want to be inside of Dusty Baker. though.
Nationals have won the division for 3 straight years under him, right?
Yeah.
But they haven't won a single playoff series.
Okay,
What is
so-
wrong with the Nationals? And
Well,
that is why Dusty Baker
you're
is not
talking
their
about
manager.
the NL East. You're talking
Yeah.
about the NL East. You've got the fucking Marlins, who's going to be a shit show to watch here coming up after the Jeter ownership has happened, and he's done literally absolutely fucking nothing.
He's just going to gut that team.
I have a feeling so. You've got the
It's not
Phillies.
going to be pretty.
Right. You got the Braves, who have looked like a fucking joke. Nothing good has happened since Bobby Cox left. Fucking bring back Bobby Cox if he's still alive. You don't have much to go on over there, and it's kind of, winning the division over there is like being the smartest kid with Down syndrome at this point. And so, I don't really know if you can go off based off of that.
Is that a real problem that they're not getting tested in the regular season? We're looking back with 2020 vision at how they've just run away with the division lead with, they've got a star-studded lineup and they've got great pitching, but they can't get it done in the playoffs.
Because look at the competition that they're playing against. The Cubs, they're playing against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They're playing against the Rockies, and they're playing against the Diamondbacks. Those are your teams that are going to make up that hub because they've got great players. Dude, during the regular season, what you're trying to beat is the fucking Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
They had R.A. Dickey and Bartolo Colon. That's about the only fucking thing they had. And Chipper Jones said, "You guys suck so much, I'm not fucking coming back."
It's
Then
not
you
real
have the
competition.
Miami Marlins, who had Giancarlo Stanton and Ichiro Suzuki, which they're not even going to fucking pick up his contract on. Like, dude, it was one of the best things you guys had. He sold seats. That's all you have. Giancarlo Stanton's probably going to San Francisco anyways, so fuck it off. You've got the Mets, who was almost as fucked up as the fucking Kardashians on E! Network this year with the whole fucking, like, let's sign Tim Tebow because Syndergaard and everybody else is fucking hurt. We've got a player playing with a bad hamstring. Nothing's going right over there. Plus, with the Atlanta Braves, you got him over there signing fucking 13-year-olds in the Dominican Republic looking like a fucking idiot. And then you had the Philadelphia Phillies, who were on a completely fucking rebuild, which, if they do it right, could be the next Astros. So you really don't have much competition.
So, yeah, no, that's
It's
the long
like
and
being
short of it.
the two-legged person in a fucking ass-kicking contest, and your opponent's a one-legged man.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it, is that the Nationals have had a great. You would think. Dusty Baker's been in the World Series,
Right. But he's never been that manager that's, and I feel like he just may be kind of like a Buck Showalter.
He just doesn't get it done in the postseason.
No, he's
it
gonna
was
be
an
one of those-
absolute embarrassment when you realize that the Nationals have never won a playoff series. When you realize that lineup just laid an egg left, right, and center, and didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs again.
Right.
So yes, you got to try something different.
And that's the thing, too, I think you can also see is, who's growing talent, who's doing this and that. The Nationals are growing talent. They're getting guys, and they're really starting to pick it up. They've got probably one of the best pitching staffs. They've also got probably some of the best offensive heat that you'll ever fucking see.
Yeah.
But they're just not able to handle it when you're going up against teams like the Cubs and the Dodgers every year, who's got this plethora of players. You've got, rumors going by Peter Gammon saying, hey, you're going to see fucking Bryce Harper playing with his old buddy Chris Bryant from Las Vegas in the Cubs.
Yeah, it's a real you're looking at it kind of like the Golden State Warriors. You're
Right.
like, okay, Steve Kerr, yeah, you're doing a great job,
Right.
but anybody could do your job.
Right.
So the Nationals' worry is not next year. They're
Right.
going to say, hey, we've got a stacked team still. We've still got our core. We've still got our pitching. We're going to try a new manager to try to get over the hump.
And that's what makes
Everyone realizes that their window is gonna close, but the
Right.
Nationals' window is not closed yet.
Right, and I think that's the thing where you're talking about Steve Kerr with the Golden State Warriors. Baseball is a totally different beast. There are managerial decisions that are made game after game after game that completely can either make or break your fucking team.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about a 5-game series to start off the playoffs.
Right.
Not game after game for 162, because Dusty Baker got that done.
Right.
But anybody, that's the whole point. Okay, we don't need Steve Kerr. We could still win 65 games if we're the Golden State Warriors, right? We don't need a damn coach. It's about the playoffs.
Most professional sports, a good head coach or a good manager or a good thing is about managing egos. And I think
Dusty Baker probably did a pretty good job.
He did do a good job of that. But actually making managerial strategic decisions during the playoffs, not Dusty Baker's biggest thing.
Okay, if we're going to
He's
talk
0-10 or 0-11 in, win or go home games.
Right. If we're going to talk about managerial decisions, why don't we get into Dave Roberts? The decisions, yes, we acknowledge that it comes down to the players. And Yu Darvish started Game 7 and completely blew it. But he gives the most bullshit excuses about, why don't you just start Wood? Well, blah, blah, blah. Well, why don't you just start Kershaw? If Kershaw can go 4 innings, well, then he can start. Well, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's always making these weird switches, and
I will say in this...
I feel like maybe he lost him a game.
He did. And I will say in this World Series...
Over-managing. He's got an incredible squad. He's over-managing.
In this World Series was the oddest I've ever seen a pitching staff used. People got on Joe Madden and Terry Francona last season over Aroldis Chapman and Andrew Miller. They both...
And they came out on the losing end. Everybody wants to talk about the bullpen. Oh, this is 2017, guys. We can use our bullpen. You need a stud bullpen in the playoffs. You need to be able to lock down a game and score and let the opponent score no more runs when you have a bad start. Well, yeah, we tried that last year, and it went down to 7 games, and it's not like truly the story is written on bullpen use in 2017. But last year we had the Indians. They tried that.
Right.
It didn't work out for them. Okay.
Right.
This year we have Dusty Baker.
Yeah, but I don't know if
we got David Roberts, and he goes to the bullpen over and over, and he uses Kenley Jansen every single game, and he uses that Morrow guy every single game. And you know what? He came out on the losing end.
For Terry Francona up until, Game 7. And I don't even know if you can put that on Game 7. That just came down to fucking who was going to grind it out.
No, for sure.
Andrew Miller was used. People talked about Joe Madden using.
But did he not get overused this year too?
He did get overused. But I don't know if you can say that was the deciding factor in the fact that the Yankees beat them out. I feel like the offense didn't show up that was, winning. I felt like pitching was there. It was defensive struggles, and it was offense just not showing up. You can't give a guy, you can't expect a guy to hold 1 or 2 runs, and then you can't fucking do anything for him. Your offense has to show up. If your pitching and your defense can keep you 2 runs minimum, then you're fucking golden. But it's kind of like how the Rangers were there for a while, where Yu Darvish was losing these 1 and 2 run games. If your offense doesn't show up, you don't win, because you can't have a 0-0 game in baseball.
And that was absolutely the story of Game 7. Dodgers only scored 1 run or 2. It just wasn't enough.
So that's...
People want to talk about pitching. You have pitching great for 6 games, and then all of a sudden you can't score runs. It's equally offense.
So now that we've looked back
Let's look forward.
Let's look forward to 2018.
All right, here's what's going to go down in Boston. Alex Cora, right? Or no?
Right.
Alex Cora, bench coach for the recently world champion Houston Astros, is going to be the manager. How's he going to do in Boston?
Dude, he's a young manager. I think with the team that he's got and the squad that he's got in Boston, I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air. Not saying that what Boston had was bad. John Farrell was a great manager. Yeah, he made some mistakes at times. He wasn't very, in with the managers. Don Dombrowski looking to go new. The ownership and general manager. Dombrowski is the reason that they brought in, Brad Ausmus trying something new in Detroit. Now he's in Boston. It makes perfect sense. Terry Francona going out there saying Cora will be a great leader for this. There's a few other guys saying that it should be something that's really a good situation for the guys that they have.
So right now we've got someone with a pedigree like that and a great reputation, and we have a complete question mark at manager in New York City. What's going to happen in the AL East next year?
AL East, I'm still going to say you've got...
Do the Blue Jays rebound? Do the Orioles rebound? We got the Yankees and Red Sox every year.
I think it's going to be a Yankees-Red Sox deal going on this next season. I think if you get into the AL Central, that one will be very interesting to see if people retool there in the winter meetings.
Yeah.
Because there really wasn't anything that came out of the AL Central that was really that great.
No, it's the storyline for the AL Central essentially is going to be, okay, here's the thing. We got to talk about this. Okay, the Houston Astros, Sports Illustrated was predicting the Houston Astros to be the World Series champions in 2017 because of their complete rebuild, their terrible year, their dedication to homegrown talent and finding studs in the draft, right? They found them. They found Bregman. They found Correa. They found Altuve. That was the core of their roster, right? So it worked for the Astros. It's not going to work for every team.
Right.
The White Sox are currently doing it. The Phillies are currently doing it. Maybe the Marlins and the Braves are trying it. The Rangers might need to consider it, but they're not going to. The Detroit Tigers are 1 year behind all those teams.
Right.
They're going to try the rebuild. You're going to have teams like, the Blue Jays probably going to blow up or something. You've got all these teams who are going to try to suck and be better in 3 years, but it's not going to work out for every single one of them.
Right.
So that's going to be the important thing to watch is like, hey, are there going to be any teams in say, the AL Central?
Right.
Who's going to take that step forward? Is it going to be the White Sox or Detroit Tigers, or are they both going to keep sucking?
And with that whole course of rebuilding, you have to look at how the Astros did it. They struck at the right time. They got the signees that they got. They got the people the homegrown talent. When they came finally up and they finally, got onto the scene, what did they do to back them up? They got veteran talent. They brought in Verlander. They brought in Beltran. They brought in McCann. They brought in Reddick. They brought in guys who could be good leadership, who could take that talent that's there and say, hey, here's what we do 162 games to get us further.
Absolutely. And it's not, they had the complete package. That's what I'm saying is that it's not going to work out for everybody because you have to have a great manager. You've got to have ownership willing to spend and general management, front office willing, able to find the right pieces to add in the offseason to go along with your homegrown talent. It's a complex thing. So sure, they had the right recipe, but they also executed it just right.
Well, and I think also what, a lot of people that listen to us will be looking for will be what's going on with the Rangers. Will they try to bring Yu Darvish back? I think the thing outside of pitching that will be interesting to see is what happens with Napoli and what happens
He's gone. He better be gone.
What happens with Willie Calhoun?
Willie Calhoun's going to be every day left field.
You think that's the case?
I mean, he better be.
He better be.
So, no, the last little thing is about Shohei Ohtani. So, Shohei Ohtani, we probably touched on it a little bit, not enough. So
he's the Japanese Babe Ruth. He's a pitcher, but he's also a long baller.
Absolutely. In Japan, he's got no problem. His team plays them, the Nippon Ham Fighters. They play him all the time, and he hits home runs, and that was sexy.
Yeah, that's Stella.
He hits home runs, and he strikes people out. He's the Japanese Babe Ruth, and he's coming to America. This is the thing. We don't know. There's a complete pause right now, and the lawyers have to work it out, and we're not going to be, it's not going to be like a Zeke front page lawyer thing, but in the back offices, in the back rooms, lawyers for the MLB are working out their deals again with the Japanese teams because the contract has expired. They had legal contracts to dictate the terms of how a Japanese team posts a player, that's the term they use, so that MLB teams can go buy them, and then the Japanese team gets paid for that privilege, and then the player gets paid as well.
Right. And that's the thing is...
But that contract expired, and so right now we have to redraft that, and the Nippon Ham Fighters are going to be saying, hey, essentially, we've got one chance at a payday. This is our stud player that we're going to let go. They're going to want more money. The MLB Players Union is going to say, hey, it is absolutely not fair for Shohei Ohtani to get less money than the team because he's the stud. Right? Those guys are going to be wanting more money. We got to find it from somewhere. But they have to redraft this whole thing.
And for us in America, that is a very odd thing. Most pro sports in the rest of the world, they have some type of compensation to the team. Where we do cash considerations for stuff instead of players to be announced, they go out there and it's like, hey, you're going to buy him from us for $8 million, plus you're going to have to fucking pay a contract on him. And that's how they do it. It's a different world out there, and I think it'll be very interesting to see because the way that America has it is you get that initial payday, kind of like Yu Darvish did, that's very low, almost like a rookie-type pay.
Right. I mean, the Rangers had him a real good value.
Right. And so you end up with that, and then now here you are.
No, it's an interesting twist that just came down this week, so we're going to pay attention to that. We're probably going to tweet about it. I think that's all we got for the show tonight.
Dude, yeah.
It's been a great time at the Hub. We went on Facebook Live. We went on Instagram. We appreciate every single one of you followers.
Guys,
like
this has been probably the funnest season I've had.
It's been absolutely great. There's
Me
been
and
so
Corey
much to talk
started
about.
out, like, let's get sentimental here for a second. Corey and I started out as work, but like, we worked together. We weren't really friends. We didn't really have whatever. And now I can honestly say that Corey is really a true friend and has been a lot of fun to work with. When I first met Corey, Corey was a very soft-spoken dude that knew a lot about coffee, knew quite a bit about beer, and would randomly talk to me about sports when I wasn't saying something inappropriate and HR called worthy. And then all of a sudden I approached him and he was just like, well, Corey doesn't really cuss. Corey was just like, yeah, let's try it. Let's do it. And we started this road with two $20 microphones from Best Buy and an iPad. And
that was still a day that will live in infamy because we had to walk around Best Buy and deal with that.
Right. Yeah, that was a horrible day. Like, that really tested the boundaries.
Go to Fry's, guys.
Go to Fry's. Fry's is where we found it the best. But through $80 worth of stuff and some Facebook ads, we're 27 shows in, and I don't know anybody else that I would want to spend 27 shows with. Plus, we've got 8 episodes on Drinking with the Boys, so it's a lot of fun. We're carrying it over. We'll be doing some other stuff. Be looking for it on Facebook and Instagram because when news happens, we'll be breaking it there. We're probably going to take the winter months off, and we'll be back for winter meetings and when pitchers and catchers report.
There's going to be definitely a little bit of lapse, but I think what we could do is we're going to have, little segments. We're going to give you little clips maybe on Facebook Live or Instagram just to keep you up to date, but we're not going to give you a whole show because there's not much to talk about because in MLB rules, they can't sign anybody for another 4 weeks. We got a real pause in baseball. There's still beer to be drank and baseball to be played. It's just not on the professional level.
Right. Guys, and another thing too, this coming season, we're working on a few things, and one of those is honestly a new minor league team that's coming to the DFW area, and that's the Royce City Griffins. And definitely check that out. It's independent baseball there. It's a new league popping up. It's really cool how they're working it. They're bringing professional baseball to towns that have never had professional baseball. And we're working out something with them that may be something very interesting, very cool. So that gives us something to look forward to in 2018. Plus, we're going to be upping the video content and things like that. So we really want to say thank you guys for sticking around with us for 27 fucking episodes.
Thank you to 340 Instagram followers when we started at 0.
Right.
Like, thank you. Yeah. Thank you to the people. We know who you are. Like, okay, we don't know who you are. We know, the SoundCloud listeners. We know the iTunes listeners. And, it's grown little by little by little by little. And then we can tell, people are binge listening to us. We appreciate, those commentary that we get on Facebook and Instagram. It's grown from nothing to this. We're not big yet. We're going to try to be bigger next year.
Right.
But it's been a good ride. Chase described it. We've both been sports fans for all of our life, essentially. We got a wealth of knowledge. We love sharing it with you. We want to give you some content that you're not going to find anywhere else. It's not going to be a boring podcast. We're not going to lull you to sleep. We're going to give you hard-hitting stuff. And, we're going to come back to you with off-season drama with the Rangers. We're going to give you off-season drama with all these new managers being hired. It's going to be a great season to look forward to in 2018.
Right. And, guys, keep up with us on the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And, guys, we will be doing definitely a winter meeting. And until then, guys, enjoy some more beer and get the MLB at Bat app so that you can watch Game 5 of the World Series until fucking baseball comes back. So thanks for the first season of Cold Beers and Curveballs. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.